Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Felicity here, and in this video I'm going to talk about two wealth-giving planets, and that is Venus and Jupiter. It's very important to understand your Venus and Jupiter in your birth chart so that you can pump up Venus or Jupiter in order to generate more wealth to you and to keep the cash flow coming in. And also, if you selling a product, it's also very important to identify which planet is supporting the wealth of your clients so that you can speak the language in order for you to sell the products to them efficiently. It's very important to speak the language, especially when you are selling a product to them. And so you need to identify which planet is helping them and supporting them to generate wealth in order to speak the language. And so now I'll give you some keywords about these two planets. For Venus, it's comfort, selfie, vanity, passive income. For Jupiter, that is active gain, knowledge, history, culture, and also generosity. And so I will give you an example to tell you that, okay, if Venus is supporting your clients or a person's birth chart to help him or her generate wealth, normally their actions or their mindset or the behavior will be reflected in this way. For example, before they want to buy a product, they are always gravitate toward products that have a brand name, that for them to take a selfie or for them to tell their family members or others about how much they can afford the product and how much they have spent on certain products. So when you are selling the product to the Venus supporting clients, then you need to tell them that, okay, this is brand name and it's a well-known brand and everyone knows about the luxury that this brand can afford, and also it's very exclusive. Not everyone can get a hold on this brand name product. And also the brand or the product can help them to show the status and show their wealth to others. And so all you need to do is to show them that, okay, this product has a brand. Also it helps others to understand how much you have spent, and also it helps you to show the product. And when it comes to selling products to Jupiter driven clients, and you may want to focus on the brand's history and also the founder of the brand, the story of the founder of the brand. And you may also want to add, okay, certain product has a certain symbol, it has a very rich history, it has knowledge, okay, a lot of knowledge has been put into making this product, like maybe certain technology and certain cultural things, and also the knowledge, the technology or the knowledge that has been put into producing this product. And when you have a story background, when you have the cultural enhancement of this certain product, surely you will attract the clients from the Jupiterian driven wealth, because those who have the support of the Jupiter will be interested in how much knowledge he or she can gain from owning a certain product. And that's why you can see that nowadays very high-end brands not just focus on their brand to elevate the status of their clients, and also they will add a lot of story of the brand. Also they give the story and the history of the founder of the brand in order to attract the people who have a Jupiterian support of the wealth. And so normally Jupiterian driven clients, normally they not just purchase one item, sometimes they will keep coming to buy more items from you. Once you establish a trustworthy, you establish good relation with the Jupiterian clients. Because Jupiter means expansion, they need to expand the collection of the items from your company, and therefore they are more willing to keep buying from you if you attract Jupiterian driven clients. And when it comes to Venetian clients, because they care a lot about the status, they care a lot about what other people say about the items that they are spending money on. So whenever they hear stories, or whenever they hear comments about others, people commenting on the items that they purchase, and once there are some negative comments coming in, they may think about whether they should keep purchasing certain products, and because they do not want their status to be destroyed by the bad comments from others. And when it comes to Jupiterian clients, they are more willing to ignore the opinions of others, because they understand that the luxury items comes with knowledge, and by owning these items, it comes with knowledge that shows a lot of knowledge about me having knowledge about certain items. Maybe it's about the knowledge about the leather, about the craftsmanship, and about the culture as well. Sometimes an item carries a certain symbol. You need to have a lot of cultural understanding of certain symbol in order to own that product, and so there's this difference. And also Jupiterian driven people are less concerned about the losing of things, because wealth to them, the material gain to them, means the gaining of knowledge instead of the gaining of status. That is the bonus when other people know about their status. But then what is the most important thing is that they know that by owning a certain product, they have a lot of knowledge. They learn certain culture, certain company, certain material of the product, and certain function of the product. Some Jupiterian driven people are willing to learn how to repair the products once their product breaks down. So maybe when they own certain mechanic things, for example, if they own a old-fashioned car, or they own a car, and they may join some the club of that certain brand in order to know how to get their car fixed when they are required to fix the car themselves. And so you can know the difference between the Venetian people and Jupiterian people. All right. And so when it comes to the letting go of the material gain, Jupiterian people are more willing to let go of the wealth, more willing to let go of the ownership of the material gain, because they know that it's the luxurious item means the learning of the knowledge, the acquiring of knowledge, as well as the acquiring of the luxury item. And I give you the example. Another example is that, the flowers. So flower can sometimes be considered as the luxury item, because the flower is not a must to have in your day-to-day life. Flower is just something that is extra to add something to your house, to beautify your house. So a Venetian driven people will see that as the decoration of the house. But then a Jupiterian driven people will learn about how to take care of the flower, so that to prolong the life of the flowers, they prolong the longevity of the flowers. So when you give the flowers to the Jupiterian people, they will go online to search how to take care of the flowers. And because different flowers require different work, it requires different ingredients or different caretaking skills in order to prolong the lives of the flowers. So Jupiterian people will learn about how to take care of particular flower, how to cut the stem of the flower so that the flower consume more water inside, so that it prolong the freshness of the flower. And so that is the accumulation of the knowledge. That is, the luxury items come with knowledge, and that's how Jupiterian people see the wealth. And also that's how Jupiter help you to generate wealth. The more you are willing to learn the knowledge, the more you are willing to understand the culture, and the more you are willing to travel, and the Jupiter in your chart will help you generate the wealth constantly, even though in a very critical time, just like this year. And so Jupiterian people, if you pump up your Jupiter will help you generate constant wealth in your bank account. And so how can you, since you understand the importance of pumping up your Jupiter, how can you ask your Jupiter in your birth chart in order to generate constant wealth? And that is what? Knowledge, history, culture, and also active gain. So whenever you want Jupiter to help you generate wealth, you need to have a purpose. Purpose of what? Purpose of knowledge. And Jupiter is going to ask you, why should I give you wealth? You need to have a very good reason. Okay, maybe the reason is to, okay, I need to have cash flow in order to study. I need to have a cash flow in order to understand the background of certain knowledge, to understand the technology of certain items. For example, when you want to have luxury items, probably instead of telling Jupiter, okay, I want to take a selfie so that everyone knows that I'm wealthy, you need to let your Jupiter knows that, okay, I need to understand the cultural background and also the founder of this company. And also I need to understand the making process of this watch, or maybe the making process of this bag, this handbag. For example, I need to have knowledge of different leather. How can they dye the leather, and how can they stitch the bag so that it become more durable. And when it comes to watch, okay, you need to know, okay, how much effort has been put into making this watch, and what about the history, about the background, about the design of this watch. Just don't tell Jupiter, not to tell Jupiter that, okay, you need to have this watch, you need to have this expensive leather handbag to show off. Okay, Jupiter is not like that. Jupiter is about giving the Jupiter a very good reason. Oftentimes the reason is about the knowledge that you can gain from owning this product. And also, okay, for example, and when you want to have Jupiter's support to gain wealth, you can tell Jupiter, okay, for example, you want to have a long distance travel, and you can tell Jupiter that, okay, long distance travel is going to help you understand the culture instead of just looking at the photos of reading the travel books, travel guide from the books. Because Jupiter wants you to give this experience, you also need to tell Jupiter, okay, I want to learn more about this culture. How can I understand more about this culture? It's by long distance travel. It's by traveling. Instead of just looking at books, reading books, looking at photos. So this is a really good reason to tell your Jupiter. Jupiter is going to be like, okay, here you go, here's the wealth to you, here is the cash flow to you, in order for you to travel, to understand other people's culture, in order for you to be inclusive, to accept other people's culture. And also, once you do that, you will have a cash flow coming in. And also, okay, if you are willing to learn the language, you can tell Jupiter, okay, since I need to travel, I still need to have some extra cash to learn about the language in order for me to handle the situation in a foreign land. So Jupiter is like, yes, that is a very good purpose. That is a really good purpose for you. Okay, here you go, extra cash coming in for you to take a course to learn enough language to handle situation when you go traveling. And also, And also, when you have a very good Jupiter, when you have a really good reason, when you want to have an experience of the culture, and when you arrive at a foreign land, Jupiter is like, okay, I'm going to help you to manifest, to bring in a lot of locals. Since you know the language, since you want to learn about culture, I'm going to put a lot of locals into your life. Maybe the local is going to teach you how to cook a certain cuisine, how to cook a certain local dish from that culture. So you are going to have a very good experience when you have a good reason to travel, when you please your Jupiter in your birth chart, and everything is very memorable for you, because you tell a very good reason to your Jupiter. Jupiter is going to support you, okay, not just in the cash flow, but in the way that you travel, in your experience that you travel, okay. And so if you want to pump up your Venus, all you need to do is like, okay, Venus is about comfort. I need to travel in I need to live in a 5-star hotel because I need comfort, and then I need to take a selfie to show others because it's about vanity. I need to tell others about how much I earn, and then I'm relaxing, and then that is like passive income. Maybe if you have a support of the Venus, probably you have a lot of passive income. All right, passive income can be seen like this, okay. Maybe you inherit a property, last generation passed down a property to you, and then you rent out that property, and then you just sit at home and receive that rent from renting out the property, and that is passive income. Sometimes Venus-driven people may not know how to generate more income. Yes, so I feel that maybe I'm biased, I'm not so sure. I feel that it's better to pump up your Jupiter instead of Venus, because nowadays, especially in this time and age, you can see that actually it's not Venus that is giving someone constant wealth. Sometimes Venus is relying on the planet Jupiter, because why? Venus is exalted in the sign of Pisces. Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. So Venus power, Venus strength comes from Jupiter, and Jupiter's strength comes from the moon, because Pisces, it's about what? Because what? Jupiter exalted in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon. So moon and the sun is the self-productive planet. Moon is yourself. Remember, moon does not need to rely on others, when Venus needs to rely on Jupiter. But Jupiter is not about relying on others. Jupiter exalted in Cancer. So Cancer means what? You can self-produce wealth. As long as you have the will to learn, you can self-produce wealth. Right now, why you are thinking that some people think that owning money, owning something, having wealth is very negative, and that is because they look at the aspect, they look at the wealth from the aspect of Venus, and they forget to look at the wealth from the aspect of Jupiter. Actually, Jupiter tells you that it's very good. It's a positive experience to own wealth, to have wealth, because having wealth means having a lot of knowledge, the expansion of experience, the expansion of knowledge of different culture, of the knowing of the history. So when you look at wealth from the perspective of Jupiter, it's going to be very positive. And especially nowadays, you can see that in a pandemic, and Jupiter is exalted in the sign of Cancer. Everyone is staying at home during the lockdown period. Who is going to gain wealth even though in a lockdown? Is the people who have strong Jupiter. Jupiter is going to give them a lot of income when they are staying at home. Why? Because they have a lot of different sources of income. They do not just rely on one income. They have different resources of income. Probably they have foreign trading from foreign land, so they expand their source of income. So in a difficult time like this, they are still sitting at home and comfortably having the cash flow coming into them. So now you can see that Venus wealth has been shifted from Venus driven to Jupiterian driven. All right, and also because you expand the knowledge, you do not just focus on one source of knowledge. And in a very critical time, you can be like, okay, forget about this area of life or forget about this field. I can also work on different fields as well, because you know you gain a lot of knowledge in your day-to-day life in a very civic attitude. All right, and also what else? Let me see. Yes, in the old texture, old scripture tells you that Venus is the most powerful planet that gives wealth, but actually it's no, because in the ancient time, those scripture is not for the commoners. Astrology is not for the commoners. Astrology was for what? For the king and the queen at the court. And that's why those masters, those sages who were writing the scripture for the commoners to read, they do not want to let out a lot of knowledge to you. They only want to write something that they want you to tell you. They are hiding a lot of knowledge from you. Because what? Because they want to keep the knowledge within the court, inside the court of the king and the queen. And that's why they are telling you the Venus is bringing you wealth. Actually it's not, it's Jupiter. You know, you just look back at the story of 1001 Night. And 1001 Night is about what? A queen who, in order to avoid the murder of the king, in order to avoid the capitalized cutting of the head of, she tells a story to every night in order to keep the interest of the king, in order for the king to understand the underlying message and underline the wisdom of life. And also this queen have, well, in order to tell an interesting story, you need to have knowledge about what? History, knowledge about the foreign land, knowledge about the psychology of the king. All right, so in 1001 Night, this story clearly tells you that it is the Jupiter that brings you fortune, that brings you not just fortune of the material gain, but the fortune of knowledge, the fortune of having knowledge. And so you understand that actually sometimes the old scripture or the old text may not tell you the truth about certain planets, or sometimes because of the time and dates, you know, as humanity progress to a certain place, to a certain higher consciousness, and sometimes the culture or the time has changed many things. And so to me, I feel that the shift, there's a shift in accumulating wealth. There's a shift shifting from Venetian driven wealth to Jupiterian driven wealth. And especially starting from this year, you can see the shift. And it's because, you know, whether you are a man or a woman, it's very important to pump up your Jupiter, so that Jupiter in a very critical moment can still help you to keep the cash flow coming in, because Jupiter is exalted in the sign of Cancer. So when everyone is staying at home, you still have a very good cash flow coming in if you pump up your Jupiter. And also yes, I feel that for women as well, women in old days rely on the husband. That is, you have a very good Venus. Maybe your Venus is exalted in the sign of Pisces. Then, and plus you have a very good Jupiter. Maybe you can just comfortably sitting at home and receive a lot of wealth, a lot of fortune from your spouse. But now the time has shifted, because starting from the 70s or the 80s, higher education, that is what Jupiter is open, expand to the commoners, the common class of people. That is like higher education is no longer given to the people at the court inside a kingdom. Higher education is open to the women from the common class, and so there's a very big shift. So women start to generate wealth for themselves, and once they generate wealth for themselves, they are able to attract the spouse who have very generous heart, who are also self-produce wealth. So this combination is very powerful because they support each other to generate more wealth. So you can see the benefit of expanding to pumping up of your Jupiter. And also, once you have the support of the Jupiter, actually you can help your Venus as well. Why? Once you have enough wealth in you, you're able to give comfort to yourself without relying on others. You're able to relax. You can think about this way. When you always worry about the wealth, because you just focus on receiving wealth from others, you just sit at home and being comfortable receiving wealth from others, you are going to worry about when you are going to lose wealth. Once you lose the support of others, you are going to lose the income, right? So Jupiterian quality is very good to develop also in women, because women, when they know how to generate wealth for themselves, they do not need to worry about asking for the help, for the financial support from their spouse. And they do not need to worry about whether they will lose the partnership, whether they will lose their spouse, because it is self-sufficient, self-generation of wealth for them. So it's very good for you to develop your Jupiter, especially your woman, whether you're a woman or a man, all right? Especially in the modern days. Take advantage of the higher education. Take advantage of the Jupiterian generosity to the women from of the common class. Because this is the blessing of Jupiter. Jupiter expands. Jupiter opens the door to the women from the common class. So this is a very big progress. And also, when it comes to the man's chart, sometimes the astrology focus on the Venus exaltation sign of a man's chart, and that is not 100% accurate, because nowadays it's very different. Because in the old days, when you have enough income, you can support a wife, and then the wife only needs to take care of the home and also need to take care of the basic need of the children. But nowadays it's very different. The requirement is very different. Why? Because nowadays the Jupiterian quality of the women is very, very important. Especially it's reflected in this lockdown. Why? Because Jupiterian women is not only taking care about the basic of children, they are also they also have the power, they have the knowledge to homeschool their children. Okay, homeschooling becomes a norm in this lockdown. Why? And everyone is locked at home, and children cannot go to school. And the women, if they have the knowledge, if both parents have the knowledge, have the higher education, they are more than enough to support the education of the children. They're able to stay home, they homeschool their children without relying on the tutors from others. Now, can you be safe if you bring in others from outside to go inside your home to tutor your children? It's not 100% safe, because there's a chance that they bring the disease or they bring some germs into your home, right? And so you can see from this year, and a lot of people are waking up by the Jupiterian quality. Because in the old days, women are only have the basic knowledge to cook, to take care of children, the basic need, to feed the children, to keep them healthy, and that's it. If their spouse have the income, they can hire someone to tutor their children. But nowadays it's very different. Women needs to have knowledge to educate the children, to impart a lot of knowledge cultural difference to the children. And that's why Jupiterian exalted in the sign of Cancer has been a great help in this lockdown. And I can see that in the coming 2 decades is the Jupiterian quality inside the people that are being valued. Jupiter is about the concern, the carrying of the lineage of the family, the lineage of the culture, alright? Whenever Venus is about embarking a lot of, how to beautify yourself in the area of life. Like if Venetian people raise their children, they will teach them how to be a beauty pageant. Maybe they will want their children to be a celebrity, to be a star, to dress beautifully, and to how to do the makeup correctly, so that to attract a spouse in order to carrying on of their cash flow. And Jupiterian people, when they raise children, they are going to focus on the expansion of knowledge, so that the children can be carrying the lineage of culture, the lineage of knowledge, in order to support themselves. Okay, so that's why I feel that Jupiterian quality should be developed. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.